Now, what is loving kindness known as in Buddhism? What is the term we use for loving kindness? Metta bhavana. Uh, now, metta is a very useful word. Metta means what? It means loving kindness. It also means friendliness, universal friendliness, friendliness without any boundaries. Sometimes when we have love, we tend to love the people close to us. We love our loved ones, our parents, our brothers and sisters, right? But other people or friends who are very close to us, those are the people whom we love. But for the other people, we do not love very much. And for our enemies, we don't love them at all. But this is not the nature of metta. Metta means to have love without boundaries. I think there are many ways of doing metta. We can actually go on metta, in which you radiate in front, you radiate at the back, you radiate all around, and to all beings, without boundaries. You don't you don't confine yourself to boundaries. You say, okay, this is the person I love, that person I don't like, don't want to love him. Now, that is not metta. Okay? So it is love without boundaries. Now, it is very useful to use the word metta, because sometimes when we use the English word love, love can mean so many things. Some people say, oh, I love eating rojak. I love ice cream. I love the climb mountains. So that's not the kind of love you're really talking about. Now, Metta Bhavana actually has a lot of advantages. We should try to make it a practice to practice Metta Bhavana. There are a lot of benefits to it. I know we can talk much more about metta, but let us go through about the benefits. Now, the Buddha spoke about 11 benefits we should get when we practice Metta Bhavana. I mean, it's not just practicing like 5 minutes, but practicing a bit more than that, making it into a daily practice. What are the kind of benefits we should get if you were to practice Metta Bhavana? The first benefit you get is you sleep in comfort. Okay? You sleep in comfort. That means when you sleep, you don't snore loudly. You don't have, some people, they don't sleep well at all. They might sleep the whole night and wake up in the morning and say, oh, I hardly sleep at all. And feel very tired and sleepy. And we know that sometimes, for us, it is very important that we sleep well. It is important that we can rest well. Now, just some time ago, I met somebody who says he has never slept 6 years ago. Since 6 years ago, he has never slept a wink. And I do not know whether it can be true that the person cannot sleep at all. And he came up to KL in order to see a psychiatrist. And psychiatrists give him some medicine. Even that medicine couldn't put him to sleep. According to him, I don't know. But while I was talking to him, he was yawning away. So I do not know whether it is true that he hasn't slept a wink for 6 years. So I think that is quite terrible, because sleeping is a wonderful way in which we relax ourselves. So those who practice Metta Bhavana will sleep in comfort. Some people don't sleep in comfort. They may sleep in an air-conditioned room. They got Dunlop pillows, 3 Dunlop pillows pull up together. Very soft and comfortable. And they have nice music in the room, but cannot sleep. You see, so all the comfort. Some people just sleep on the grass. They just put a mat and sit on the grass and sleep, wow, so well. And you look at him, envy. How come he can sleep so well, sleeping on the ground like that? So a person who practices metta sleeps well. Okay? That is the first benefit. Second benefit is you wake up in comfort. Now, instead of groaning, yawning, turning over, sometimes when people get up, they get up, sit on the bed, then palm, tidur balik. Sleepy, cannot get up. So, it seems that when a person practices metta, he wakes up like a lotus opening. Have you seen a lotus opening? Beautiful. Just open like that. Open in order to receive the day. So it is beautiful. The way a person, when you do metta, you sleep in comfort, you wake up in comfort. Thirdly, you don't have bad dreams. Now, dreams, there are many kinds of dreams. There are some dreams dreams are the result of our subconscious mind. There are certain things which we cannot get in our normal waking days. When we sleep, our subconscious mind will play tricks on us. Say, for instance, in your working day, you dare not shout at your boss, because your boss very nasty. So you want to shout at him, but you say, if I shout, sure I lose my job. So in your sleep, that's when you begin to shout at your boss. So your subconscious mind taking revenge on your boss. And subconscious mind sometimes very disturbed. So if your mind is very disturbed, you find that you don't sleep well, you have very bad dreams. Now it seems that those who practice metta will have auspicious dreams. Now auspicious dreams is like what? It's like they dream of themselves going before the Buddha shrine, making some offerings, and maybe, bowing before the Buddha image. These are very good dreams to have. Or maybe like hearing Dharma. These are auspicious dreams. They don't dream, for instance, being surrounded by thieves and bandits, being chased by ghosts, being chased by wild beasts and all that. All nightmares. Sometimes when you have a very nice dream, and if you get up in the middle of the night, we say, yeah, that was a nice dream, let me try to continue. Try to continue, cannot continue. But when you have a bad dream, you get up, you say, ayo, don't want to dream or don't want to sleep. Then when you sleep, can continue. Part 2. Like video show like that. Part 2. So when you do metta, you have 3 good things relating to sleep. First, you sleep in comfort. Second, you wake up in comfort. And third, you have very good dreams. And the dreams you have are auspicious dreams. Okay, so that is the first 3 advantage of practicing metta. Then the 4th one is that, according to the Buddha, if you do metta, you become dear to humans. Dear to humans. That means human beings like you. That means many people like you. Certainly if you have very good mental vibrations. Each time when we think, we radiate our thoughts. Sometimes the thoughts are written right across our face. Sometimes if you are a very observant person, you can notice this. Sometimes people say, oh, no problem. But you look into his face, you know that he's not telling so. He said, oh yes, I'd like to help you. You look into his eyes, he's not saying the same thing. Like the Chinese says that, be careful of the man who laughs, but his stomach not moving. Not moving, so stomach like that, but you go ha 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 ha, so you better be careful. So it is like that. So, but if a person were to practice metta, if he sends out good thoughts, good vibrations, he becomes dear to human beings. And no matter where you go to, sometimes when you're in difficult situations, you find that there will be people to help you. Even in countries where you cannot speak the languages, people will come to help you because of the metta. And it really helps. Say, for instance, if you're in a foreign country, you want to find your direction, I always find it helps to flash a friendly face. Very important, you must flash a friendly face before you approach someone, otherwise they panic. Like here, when we walk in KL, somebody just come like that with a map, panic. We do not know what they want, right? So first you must stand and flash a friendly face, send thoughts of metta to him, and then you go forward to him and ask him for direction. And most of the time, you find that people will help you. Now, people used to say that if you go to France, don't speak English, because the French people, even if they can speak English, do not want to speak to you. But based on my experience, I find that each time when I speak English to a French person, they reply in English. No problem. And they even take me for a walk, and they say, okay, this is how you go, and all that. And I remember once I went to Vienna, and this gentleman even took me on the train. He says, oh, I'm not going there, but I can show you. So he took me on the train, brought me there, paid the fare for me, and then stopped the train, went to come down and say, okay, you go here and you follow like this, then you'll find your way. People are really kind. And even like France, because most people say when you go down there, you speak English, they wouldn't want to speak English. But I also learned an important French phrase. It's parlez-vous anglais. That means, do you speak English? So you greet in French, and then you ask them if they speak English, or you can speak English to them straight away. And you find that many young people down there can speak English, and they're very helpful. So you see that if you have a friendly person, if you're a friendly person, and if you have lots of metta, you find that you become dearer to human beings. Human beings will try to help you when you're in trouble. Then the 5th benefit is not only are you dear to human beings, but you're dear to non-humans as well. Now, I'll give you an example. Now, there was one monk who was practicing metta meditation, metta bhavana. And this happens in Sri Lanka. So he went to this temple and practiced metta bhavana, loving kindness. Then after practicing for about 3-4 months, he decided that, he doesn't want to stay in the temple a little longer. He wants to move on to another temple. Monks, they move from temple to temple. Now that night he says, that he wants to move on, go to another temple. So in the morning when he got up, and when he was about to leave the temple, at the temple gate, he saw a non-human crying. If it's a human being crying, you can see it's a human being, but this is a non-human crying. Actually, it is a spirit, or sometimes you like to say it is a deva. The deva was crying. So now this monk can see devas. So he went to the deva, he says, "Why are you crying?" Now the deva says that, since the time when you come here, this place is very peaceful. We people, that is amongst the devas and the spirits, we don't quarrel anymore, we don't gossip about each other, we don't carry tales, we don't have troubles. Down here, very peaceful. And all because you do metta meditation. Also, maybe that also says that in the temple, nobody else does metta meditation, that's why. So it says because you have done metta meditation, and that's why, down there so peaceful, so nice. But now you're going away, I'm sure we'll go back to what we were. I'm sure we start quarreling with each other again. So when he thought about it, he said, like that, never mind, like that I stay for another 4 months. So he decided to extend his stay in the temple, and he's continued doing metta bhavana. So when the 4 months was over, he also made the decision to leave the temple, and again he saw this deva crying. And then he said, okay I think I extend. And it seems that he extended his stay until while in his practice he attained arahantship. So this monk attained arahantship in this temple, and the devas help him, they make the environment very nice. Okay? So not only are you dear to human beings, but you're dear to non-humans as well. Sometimes we see that during an accident or something, so many people will die, but some people will be saved. Sometimes because these people are being saved by non-humans. Non-human intervention. They help a person out. So, the sixth advantage, it seems that when we do metta, the deities, the devas, will guard you. They will guard you like the way the parents guard their child. So for people who do metta bhavana, your good friends are devas. Devas will be your good friends. Sometimes people go everywhere to ask for blessings. They say, "Excuse me, sir, can you give me blessings?" They go to temples, they go to churches, they go to many places just to get blessings. Because we think, we are not pure, so we want to get blessing from somebody who is purer. Well, that is understandable. But when you begin to understand Buddhism more and more, you understand that what is the best blessing you can have? Is it somebody blessing you or what? What is the best kind of blessing you can have? Sorry? How do you bless yourself? You take water and sprinkle like that. How? That is right. That's the right answer. But how? What is the most powerful kind of blessings you can have? Well, that is quite right. Actually, it can all be summarized in one word: your good deeds. The merits which you perform is the highest blessings, and they are the best protection you can have anywhere. So that is why when we do good deeds, our good deeds are our greatest blessing. So after a while, you understand that it is not wrong to go somewhere to get blessings. In fact, it is good to get blessings, but also remember that you are not completely helpless. That the greatest blessings you can have are your own good deeds. Now, this is the interesting thing. Now, sometimes we are born as a human being. Sometimes we become happy. Sometimes we become sad. So people say, I do not like this human life. I want to be born as a deva. Or I want to be born as a Brahma. Of course, you are born as a Buddha as a deva and Brahma. Very nice. Very fine. In fact, as a human being, we can enjoy so many things. We can see things in color, A dog cannot see in color. A dog only see black and white, like black and white TV. Huh? So we can see in color, so we can enjoy the grass is green, the sky is blue. The dog see everything as black and white. Huh? You see? So as a human being, we can enjoy many things. We can enjoy things with our eyes, with our ears. For instance, like music. Do you think a dog can enjoy music? You play Beethoven and let the dog enjoy. You think can enjoy? Dog cannot enjoy the music. Huh? You see, so as a human being, you can enjoy many things to your senses, but as a deva, you enjoy much more. If you can smell beautiful smells down here, you go to heaven, oh, the smell more beautiful. Huh? Actually, if you go to heaven, our body to the heavenly beings very smelly. They say, "Ayo, this human being very smelly." They have to close your nose. Because we are all chemical laboratories. So as human beings, our body is very gross. So in heaven, very fine. They smell like sandalwood, very sweet smelling. So like this, you say, like that, don't want to be human being, like better be deva, nicer. Can enjoy, can have long life, can always have a lot of happiness down there. But as human beings, we have an advantage over the devas. Now what is the advantage? There is one thing which the devas find it hard to do. What? The devas find it, they find it hard to make merits. Actually very strange, since they are in such a happy world and they have so much power, so much merit, so much power. How come they find it harder to make merits? Now the thing is, devas also there are many worlds. There are some worlds which are very detached, very far away from human worlds, and down there they enjoy day and night. In fact, they enjoy so much that sometimes they forget to eat. You know, like little children, sometimes they enjoy, they don't want to eat. And you say, "Hey, come and eat." They say, no, I want to play some more. You have seen these little kids, We have little brothers and sisters. If you have little kids yourself, you can see how little kids are like that. And sometimes they forget to eat, so much so that they actually die because they don't eat. So they enjoy so much. But as a deva, because they enjoy so much, it's not so easy for them to make merits. But as human beings, we can make merits if we make the effort. I'm not saying it's easy to make merits. In fact, it's easier to make demerits. It's easier to quarrel with people, to talk bad about people, to perform bad actions than to perform good actions. You need a lot of effort to do merits. But comparatively, it is much easier for we human beings to make merits than the devas. Okay? Now, when you make merits, especially when you do metta, according to the Buddha, if you can do metta, just like, and the way the elephant takes his ears to go pung like that, the elephant always flap the ears, right? As quick as it takes an elephant to if you can do metta for that short time, the moment it takes the elephant to leave his ears and close, the merits you do is tremendous. Fantastic merits. The store of merits is so great, just for that short duration. So when you do metta, the merits is tremendous. Okay? So when we accumulate merits that way, when we do metta that way, and we share it with the gods and devas, we always, part of Buddhist custom, we always share. We say whatever devas they are, we like to share these merits to them. Now the wonderful thing about the devas is that they are not jealous. They are not jealous. So when they see other people doing good deeds, the devas feel happy. What do you call that in Pali? Start with M. Mudita. They got appreciative joy. So when they see somebody doing meritorious deeds, and when somebody share with them, they says, "I like to share this merits to gods and devas," and immediately this happiness will arise from within their heart, and they have that great happiness, the kind of merit which comes to them. You see, so that is the way they make merits, by rejoicing with you. And when they make merits that way, that means what? They will live much longer, and they become even more powerful. So now you can see why the devas want to hang around people who do metta bhavana. Now can you understand? Because that is the way how they can actually generate their own merits, by sharing with people. So these devas are like that. Now on the other hand, just a slight deviation. Asuras, you know asuras? Asuras are demons. Now sometimes asuras may live side by side with a deva, They might also be beautiful asuras. Don't think the asura must be very ugly. Asuras are people a lot of anger. Sometimes human beings, when they got a lot of anger, look like asura. Sometimes we ourselves, when we become angry, look in the mirror. That is how an asura look like. So you want to know how asura look like? When you get angry, look in the mirror next time. If you want to know how a deva looks like, when you have loving kindness, look into the mirror. Then you see the face of a deva. Okay? Now asura, on the other hand, so much anger in their mind, very angry. The problem with an asura is that it is not that they're not beautiful, it's not that they don't have power, but the problem with them is they're jealous. Now sometimes we can see this amongst ourselves, even sometimes within ourselves, or sometimes we can see this amongst the people we know. Sometimes it's not that they don't have car. They got a nice car, but the neighbor got a bigger car. So they look across the fence and say, wow, my neighbor got a bigger car. Ayo, I wonder how he get not only one car, but 3 cars. 3 Mercedeses, I only have, I don't know what, maybe you got a very big Ford, I don't know, Cortina, Ford, I don't know. But he looked next door, wow, feel jealous, don't feel satisfied. Then you do renovation, extend this, extend that. Big house, you got 1 or 2 air condition in the house. Then look at your neighbor, wow, your neighbor do the renovation much more. I say, cannot stand. How can? Where does he get his money? Maybe he cheat other people, maybe he bribe. So all kinds of thoughts arise in our mind. So asura is like that. It's not that sometimes, of course, some of them are really terrible, but some of them actually have certain kind of power. But when they look across the fence, live next door to a deva, wow, I cannot stand. How can these devas enjoy themselves? So this asura, they have a lot of jealousy. And this jealousy actually kills them, This jealousy, no matter what they have, but because of the jealousy, they don't feel happy, They feel very unhappy. So sometimes what they do is they go and fight with devas. They take things and start fighting with devas. And of course, because they are asuras, and they always lose. So not only do they suffer because of the jealousy which is within their heart and mind, they also suffer because they lose. Each time they fight, they lose with the devas. So you could see, the good part of deva is that they have this appreciative joy. They have this mudita. So if you got mudita also, you are like a deva also. So that is why, according to the Buddha, the deities will guard him. Because the deities, the devas will like to associate with you. There are some devas who likes to associate with people who perform good deeds. There are some who are very detached, high up in the heavens. They do not know what's happening. But there are some who hang around. And each time when they see people doing good deeds, they feel happy. And that's how they can also prolong their life in the heavens as well. Then, according to the Buddha, fire, poison and weapons do not affect a person who practices metta. So when people try to harm you, or when accidentally you eat a poisoned fruit, when you do metta, you won't be harmed. In fact, there was a story about how this monk was sitting under the tree, and when people ask him, how does he feed himself? He says he will eat the fruit from the tree, He pluck the fruit from the tree and eat. And people say, no, surely you must be joking. You must be pulling my legs. Because this fruit is poisonous. Nobody can eat this fruit and survive. So the monk said, you don't believe? You try for yourself. So he plucked the fruit and said, you try. And that person eat. It's sweet, actually. So this is the nature of things. Because of the metta which this monk practices, even the poisonous fruit of the tree becomes sweet, can eat. The fruit can eat. So metta changes the quality of the fruit. Then the 8th advantage is that your mind is easily concentrated. When we do meditation, your mind can concentrate very easily. Sometimes, if no metta, very hard. Mind refuses to concentrate. Have to fight with the mind. And the mind is not sluggish. Okay? 9th advantage is that you are serene and have a clear complexion. This for people who want to look very nice. You want to have a clear complexion, you do metta. Then very radiant. This one no need to use makeup. Like especially the girls, put on lots of makeup. Of course, makeup makes the person looks nice. But actually, metta makes them look much nicer. Because sometimes a person put on makeup, but when they become angry, when you look at their face, ayyo, no more beautiful, look more terrible. Because they make their eyes big. So when they make their eyes, wow, very fierce, they look very fierce. Sorry? War paint. That time become war paint, like Indians like that. So, actually, the quality of metta is that it makes a person look fresh and beautiful. And sometimes we have seen a person practicing metta, especially those monks and nuns. They have led a holy life. They might be 60, 70, and yet they are very radiant, very shining. There are some people 16 or 17 look old already. They say if you have hot temper, you grow old very quickly. So I think that person may be hot temper. 16, 17 looks so old, have wrinkles and all that. Look hot temper. Huh? So if you have metta, you have clear complexion and you're very serene. Okay? So besides that, you have the 10th and 11th advantage. Now, 10 and 11 advantage is about death. Now, all of us know that we have to die one time or the other. Can there be anybody who says that he won't pass away? That you live on forever? We like to think that it's true. In fact, sometimes we see other people dying. We say, okay, let they die, but we won't die. We live on forever. Somehow, at the back of our mind, we think that we live on forever. And this is a kind of delusion which we have. But to be frank with everybody will have to die, no matter how powerful you are, or how little you are. When the moment comes for us to die, we will have to die. Then it is very important to know that what are we doing in order to prepare ourselves for death? Are we living ourselves? Are we living our lives well? If you don't live your life well, you're not preparing actually to go. When time to go, you don't want to go. You say, no lah, please lah, give me, a few more hours or give me a few more days. There's so many things I have not done. But if a person has done metta, when he dies, his mind is free from confusion. No confusion. He just put his head on the pillow and pop, just go like that. Simple. Very simple. Now, I just relate an incident about the monk from whom I learned the Dhamma, my first Dhamma teacher. His name was Reverend Ananda Mangala, and he was a monk in Singapore. He was resident in Malacca for some time, then he was in Singapore. Now, he is a very sick person, sick man. But when you look at him, you never ever think he's sick. When he says sick here, sick there, you look at him so energetic, so shining. When he speaks with so much stamina, when you look at him, you cannot imagine how he can be sick. But one day, he was with his disciples in Singapore, and then he says he wants to take a rest. So he went to his room and he was talking to one of them who is a doctor. And after that he says, well, you can leave me because I just want to take a rest. But he asked them to turn him on the side. So he was sleeping on his right side. So they went off. And then 1 hour later when they came back, they saw that he was still lying on his side and already passed away. Just passed away just like that. So easy, like sleeping like that. Very peaceful. And of course he was cremated and his ashes has been put in lacquer. So if you have a chance to go to Sekiai, you can see his photograph and the urn containing. So he just sleeps like that. He even knows when he's passing away, takes a rest and he says, okay, you can go. He just like to rest for a while. So he lies down and just sleeps like that. And that's it, So easy, Some people want to die, also cannot die, Very hard, very hard to die. Then, according to the Buddha, if we practice metta, if we have not got any other attainment, like becoming a sotapanna or anagami or the stages of sainthood, then if a person practices metta up to the stage of jhana, that is up to the stage of absorption, you will be born in the Brahma worlds. Now, just now I talked about the Deva worlds. Deva worlds is these heavenly worlds. Now, above the heavenly worlds are even more wonderful worlds. These are the worlds of forms or formless worlds. This is what we call the world of Brahmas. You see? Now, the thing is, when you do meditation, you are creating good karma. And very heavy, strong karma. Sometimes you have heavy, bad karma. But on the other hand, you can also perform heavy, strong karma. Especially when you do meditation up to the stage of absorption, up to the state of jhana, it's a very strong karma. Okay. Now, according to the Buddha, when a person dies, there are some karma which determines how he gets reborn again. There are 4 kinds of karma. which determines how he gets born again. Now, instead of giving you the names of karma, let me give an illustration. Now, let us imagine this place is where you keep cattle, bulls and buffaloes. Then you got a gate down there. Okay? Now, when you open the gate, which is the first bull which will come out from the gate? Is the strongest bull. Strongest bull. The strongest bull will be able to come out first. The fourth one is random. Any bull can come out, just random, just by chance. So our karma is like that. When a person passes away, this karma will go one after the other. Number one, whether there is a very strong karma which you have performed. Now, if you have performed meditation, say for instance, it becomes a very strong, heavy karma. And that heavy karma will help you to get a good rebirth. Now, if you have not performed such a strong karma, then the second one is the karma nearest to the moment of death. That is, what were you doing before, what was that person doing before death takes place? Say maybe that person have a very big quarrel, then pump, he gets hit on the head and he dies. So the last thought moments are all about a quarrel. So his rebirth will not be a very good rebirth. Right? Or sometimes when a person is passing away, they put Buddha altar in front, they play chanting tapes, they light some incense and all that. So that person's surrounded by very good surroundings. And that also helps him to get a good rebirth. Now if you don't have that, the third one, what is habitual karma? What is the thing which you like to do habitually? All the habitual tendencies, that one come out. Now if you don't have that, then by chance, at random, any one of your karma can come out, pow, that one rebirth. So this is it, you see. So if you have performed metta bhavana to a very deep state, to a state of absorption, then even if you don't have any attainment at all, the Buddha says that you will be born in the Brahma worlds because your meditation helps you to be born in that happy plane. Okay, so these are the 11 benefits of a person who practices metta. 3 about sleeping. What are they? First is sleep in comfort, wake in comfort, no bad dreams. Then 3 other benefits about being loved. Being loved by human beings, loved by deities, non-humans, even like animals and all that. Animals will come to you, and deities will protect you. Then you have 7, you have poisons don't affect you. Then the benefit of having a clear mind, easily concentrated, and good complexion. Then the 10th and 11th is about dying. Die without confusion, and if not, you don't have any kind of attainment, be born in the Brahma worlds. Okay? Now, metta is very important because metta purifies our mind from harmful thoughts of hate, violence, and lack of consideration for others. So when we perform loving kindness, it purifies our mind from bad tendencies. So the mind becomes purified from these bad tendencies. It is also a way we express faith in the Buddha Dharma. Now, for instance, if we call ourselves Buddha's disciple, we are the disciples of the Buddha, therefore we call ourselves Buddhists. Now, if you're a Buddhist and if you don't have loving kindness, then you don't follow the example of the Master. How can you call yourself a Buddhist? We must be ashamed to call ourselves. Now, you call yourself a Buddhist, you start doing all the wrong things. You have a lot of anger in you, a lot of jealousy, a lot of hatred. Then how can you call yourself a Buddhist? Now, when you call yourself a Buddhist, you must at least try to follow the Master's example. And you know the Buddha has so much loving kindness, so much compassion. So this is one way in which we pay respect to the Buddha, by having this kind of loving kindness in ourselves. Then, loving kindness, metta itself, also have the power to cure. Metta can cure. I'll give you an example. Now, I'm not going to mention his name. I think many of you will know about this person. The person who I'm about to talk about. Now, this person works very, very hard. It seems that within 20 years, he never take one day leave. Very hard working. So one day, he's got a heart attack. and he was being hospitalized. Yeah? Hospitalized. And when he was in the hospital, he was very depressed, feeling very, very low. He was put in hospital on Friday. And on Saturday, the youth section in the temple had a puja. So now this person has been very helpful to the youth section. So we are always very grateful to him. So we know that he was in the hospital. So the youth section had meditation on loving kindness and radiated thoughts of loving kindness to him. Now I think I was not sure about the time. That's about 9:30 or so. So they sent thoughts of loving kindness, and Sisters Ng Siwa was leading in the loving kindness. So the next day, on Sunday, they went to visit this person in the hospital and asked him whether there was anything which he experienced around 9:30, around there lah. And he says, yeah, somehow around that time he actually felt much better, and he felt as if his spirits picked up around that time. And at that time, when his spirits picked up, he was also looking at the clock as well. And of course, when the youth section heard that, they got very surprised. Because that was the time when they sent thoughts of loving kindness to him. So, he also mentioned that he heard one or two voices. One of the voices was Sister Sihua's voice. Very strange, people like us, sometimes when we send our thoughts together, sometimes you'll be surprised what you can do with your thoughts of loving kindness. And of course, this person is now okay already. He's now walking around. You can still see him walking around. I also remember that our ex-president of the BMS, Mr. Tay Tan Chu, one day I think he slipped and fell and knocked his head and all that, and then he had to undergo operation and all that. Now, because he was quite old, quite advanced in age, the doctor says that actually ask anybody who cares for him to come and see him, as quickly as possible, because they say, he's quite advanced in age. Not very sure that he can actually make it. So I remember still that I was there on Friday when Chief Reverend was giving a talk, and Chief Reverend was talking about the virtues, all the contributions of Mr. Tay Tan Chu to the Buddhist community, and asked everybody to concentrate their mind and pray for the well-being of Mr. Tay Tan Chu. And after that, Mr. Tay Tan Chu was okay. And now he's still around. So sometimes Metta has the ability to kind of help a person through, It's got this curative ability, and it's got the ability to change the environment. Now, on the other hand, when we talk about Metta, we also like to talk about anger. Now, it is very common to be angry. In fact, the anger is a very dangerous emotion. When there is one saying which says that an angry man opens his mouth but closes his eyes. When you become angry, you close your eyes and you open your mouth. That's when it is dangerous. They say that some creatures cannot see in daytime. Some other creatures are blind at night. But a man who is angry and bitter is blind both in the day as well as in the night. So when you become angry, you're both blind. Whether day or night, you become blind. Now, actually, the Buddha talked about the 7 bad things which happens to us when we become angry. Now, we know that sometimes we have enemies. When you have enemies, your enemies what? Do your enemies want to wish you well? No. Enemy says, "Ayo, I hope he fails. I hope he gets stomach ache. I hope he's like this, like that, like that." So, because the enemy always wants to wish the worst. If you have an enemy always want to wish bad things on you. Now, the thing is, when you become angry, you're actually doing your enemy a favor. Because you do 7 bad things to yourself, which an enemy actually, if your enemy knows, enemy will be so happy. So because of this, don't be angry. Now, what are the 7 bad things you do to yourself when you get angry, which will make your enemy very happy if he comes to know about it? First thing is that if you're well-groomed and well-dressed, you cut your beard, you trim your mustache, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you put on your best clothes. That is what you say well-groomed and well-dressed. Even if you're well-groomed and well-dressed, you become ugly if you're angry. So that will make your enemy very happy. That's number one for your enemy. Point one, for your enemy. Because enemy wants you to look ugly, isn't it? Doesn't want you to look beautiful. Number two, even if you lie on the soft and comfortable bed, you will lie in pain. When a person is angry, he will lie in his bed. Even if he's very comfortable, he says, oh, how can he say like that to me? Whole night cannot sleep. Even very comfortable bed. Wow, you toss here and there. Wow, you say, Aya, how can he say like that to me? Next time when he says like that, I must say like this, like this, like this. When I say like this, like this, like this, then he will certainly keep quiet. Now I want to say like this, like this, like this when there are many people around and make him really feel shy. So wow, when you speak like lagi boy, then cannot sleep. Next day go to office, say face look one kind. So the second bad thing which happens to you is even if you lie on a very soft bed, you will lie in pain when you're angry. The third thing is that when we become angry, we mistake the bad for the good and the good for the bad. And therefore we become very reckless, we never listen to reason, and we do a lot of things which bring a lot of harm and suffering to ourselves. You see? So we harm ourselves. Okay? So that is the third bad thing which happens to us. Our mind becomes distorted, becomes deluded. What is good, we think, oh, that is bad. What is bad, we say, oh, that is very good, we must do more and more. And so you become very careless, you become very reckless. And therefore you begin to do a lot of things which bring lots of harm to yourself. The next bad thing which happens to us is that when we become angry, if we have lots of money, we waste our money. You lose your money that way. You spend your money. You pay your money in order to hit back. And then you also get into trouble with the law. Sometimes when people get angry, they send people, hit people to wallop the other person. And sometimes when it is found out, they throw in jail for doing this kind of very bad things. Then, whatever reputation they have got, they lose that reputation. Sometimes people got good reputation. Everybody say, wow, this person very good, very kind and all that. And once you become angry, all the good reputation you have all lost. So there was a story about this lady. Everybody say, oh, she's a very nice lady, in this village. Very nice lady, very kind lady. Actually, she's very rich. So she got servants running around. She's hot, somebody take a fan to fan her. Food always ready. So everybody's in the town say, wow, very nice lady. So she got a servant by the name of Kali. Now this Kali actually wanted to test whether the mistress is really that kind or not. So this Kali a bit jahat, a bit naughty. So one day she decided to wake up a bit late. Every time wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, maybe 3 or 4 a.m. Do this, do that, do that. One day decided to wake up 6 a.m. maybe. Wake up late. So when the mistress came to know about it, she was very angry. She scolded Kali. She said, how come today you wake up so late? You lazy, useless person and all that. So she said, wow, my mistress like that. I never know my mistress so angry. So next day, want to try some more. Wake up, instead of 6 o'clock, wake up 8 o'clock. Lagi the mistress, lagi angry. Whoa, wake up, bang the table, shout and scream and all that. She says, I want to test the limit of a mistress. Next day, wake up 11 o'clock. So the mistress, what happened to mistress? She was so angry, she took this wood. They use this wood to block the door. In India, they don't have this key and all that, special key. So they use this wood to block the door. So she took this wood and wall up this servant until the servant started bleeding, So the servant went out to the street and said, there, everybody says my mistress is good, look at me. All bleeding. So the story behind this is that this mistress who had such good reputation lost her reputation because of her anger. So easy to do that. Now everybody says, she's like that. Sure lah, because we have all the servants running around. Sure lah. Sure, nice lady lah. But actually, she cannot even stand the fact that this servant wake up late 3 times. But I think the servant also naughty or cause trouble. Okay? So you lose your reputation. Then, if you are always angry, your relatives and friends will keep away from you. This one you can see. Sometimes I could see that. Sometimes when families, they quarrel about property and all that. Brothers and sisters bang the table. They shout, they scold, they accuse each other of stealing, of cheating, or whatever it is. Then sometimes they get so angry. So each time when you see them, you just want to say, hello, how are you? They put you down there. Talk to you. You know, that day this person said like this, like this, like this. Huh? You know what I say? I say like this, like this, like this. And then he did this. He dared to do this. And then I did like that. No. So they go on and on for 2-3 hours. You have to listen. So next time you want to see him, also scared to see him. So you see him walking in the market, one market, quickly sneak off, go somewhere else. Quickly go to your car. See he's not saying, turn on your car, and quickly drive off. And this happens to people. What happens? People are scared of you. All your friends keep away from you. Because each time they see you, wow, you always have bad things to say like this. Gada, 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 and you cannot hear some more. So, if your enemies come to know about it, they really like it. Because you lose all your friends, you see. Your relatives all keep away from you. So this is the 6th bad thing which happens to you when you become angry. And the 7 bad things which happens to a person when he becomes angry is that he will be born in very bad states, in suffering states. So these are the 7 bad things which happens to a person when he becomes angry, which he does a favor to his enemy, which makes the enemy very happy. So I think just to go through, you become ugly, even if you're well-groomed. You lie in pain, even if you sleep on a comfortable couch. You do things which harm yourself, mistaking the wrong for the good and the good for the wrong. You lose your wealth, you lose your reputation, your friends and relatives will keep away from you, and if a person passes away in that state, he will be born in unhappy states. So for all these reasons, we should try to control our anger and develop more metta. Now, I will now like to go upon to the next part about how do we practice metta. Of course, right at the start of the talk, we did some metta by doing some metta bhavana, metta meditation, but there are some ways we can do metta with our body, speech and mind. Okay? Now, how do we do metta with our body? Now, we can do metta with our body by, for instance, giving fearlessness and comfort to other people, like small, like insects and all that. We allow them to live. That is what you call giving them fearlessness. That is how we practice metta with our body. Therefore, we have this precept of not to kill. Abstaining from killing. Now, when you abstain from killing, this is a way in which we express metta to our body. When you don't kill someone or a being, you give the being the confidence or the gift of fearlessness. Okay? Give him fearlessness. He can live without fear. This is one way how we practice metta with our body. And we can also help other people to build up confidence in themselves, build up faith in themselves by our actions. We support them when they're in trouble, and in order to build up confidence. Okay? So this is one way we can express metta to our body. Another way to express metta to our body is to practice dana, to practice charity. Now, if we really practice charity in the true sense, when we give something to someone else, that person says what? Thank you to us. And even before the person says thank you to us, we also say in our heart, thank you for accepting. Then we practice real dana. You know, sometimes when you give something to somebody else, sometimes Chinese, they don't say thank you one, sometimes they just take, just like that. Sometimes. Sometimes we feel bad when we do something for someone. How can that person say, Then we say that person is not grateful. But sometimes the Chinese, they got reasons sometimes why they don't say thank you, This is from what I heard, Because they say, what, so easy, So easy, Just say thank you like that, can, Say thank you already, forget, So they say thank you, okay, I don't have to remember you. Thank you, I already say thank you. I say, no. When you say something, when somebody has done something good to you, you must keep it in your heart. And think of one way how you can repay a person. Therefore, don't say thank you. But of course, in our modern world, don't be like that. So just say thank you, but also keep in your heart to see how you can repay back a person. Otherwise, this person says, how come this person did something, never even say thank you, and just take like that. I remember I got this, when I was young, I had this washer woman. She would come to our house and wash clothes. Actually, she's a very poor lady. She's quite young, actually, and got some little kids. But the husband is very aggressive. Husband used to beat her up and all that, and sometimes not enough money. So sometimes we got extra food or whatever things that we always give to her. And every time when we give to her, my mother will give, she will say, tuan, 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 and the whole plate of meal will push this way, push that way, push, back and forth. It was so hard, Sometimes 5-10 minutes just to let her receive something. And worse still, Chinese New Year, giving her ang pao, My mother would take the ang pao, she doesn't want, she'd take this ang pao and put in the cheongsam, those days they used cheongsam. So put in the cheongsam, my mother would take it and put it in the cheongsam, and they'll fight like back and forth. But we know she needs the money, and finally she takes it, We know she will finally take it, but she must put up a struggle, you see. So later on, one of the days I asked her, we know you need this one. Why must you say no? She said custom, just can't take like that. Chinese custom. So push this way, push that way. So the plate of meat can also fall to the ground. The meat can also fall to the ground. Just push this way. I'm sure you must have seen this, especially in amongst, if you are more educated, then when somebody says, do you like to have it? You say, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You will say like that. But in Chinese, don't. You give. Take this, don't. Take lah. And then say, okay lah, thank you. Part of the custom, But this is in relation to dana. We were talking about dana, how you express, what they call it, through your body. Now, for instance, just give you an example. Say you are riding on a minibus, and there is a lady standing beside you, and this lady is carrying a baby. And you're sitting and she's carrying a baby, and the way this minibus driver drives the bus, my goodness, very soon you think this lady will also fall with a child. So you stand up and offer her a seat. Then she sits down. She might say thank you to you, or she might say go just like that. Never mind. If she says thank you, it's okay. But in our heart, we must say thank you very much for accepting my seat. Because if she doesn't want to accept your seat, you have no one to give your seat to her. So because there is somebody to take the seat, at least you have a chance to perform charity that day, or you offer the seat to someone else. So thank you very much for accepting my seat. So this is how we must think. This is how we practice metta with our body. Okay? Of course, we can practice metta with our body like a smile, a touch. Sometimes amongst the people whom we love, sometimes the people whom we love do not know whether we love them or not. Because we don't actually express our love to them. So it is important to express love and consideration. Or even one way of expressing metta when you come to the temple is to make sure that the temple is clean. Clean up. If you see somebody throwing paper around, you pick up the paper. Why? Because you're practicing metta to the other people who come to the temple. When they come to the temple, it's clean and nice. They feel very inspired. So this is one way you express metta, by keeping the temple clean, by keeping the altar clean and all that. Then it makes the whole place looks more inspiring. This is another way we can express this metta with our body. Okay? Now, how can we express metta to our speech? We can express metta to our speech by speaking with care and consideration. Speak carefully. And we speak what is beneficial and what is truthful. So we speak useful things which are true, not false things, and things which can bring about happiness. So actually our tongue is quite dangerous sometimes. Sometimes, like Achan says, some people when they use their tongue, it's like using a knife to chop meat, So you can think of a heart of a person. When they speak, it's like taking the heart like that, chomp, 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 finish. Ayo, look what happened to the heart. Because it means meat. You can make meatballs with it. Chomp, 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 chomp. Wow, their tongue very sharp one. When they speak Finnish, your heart chop into little pieces. Like this parang, they use to chop chicken one. Some people, they use their tongue like that. Very bad. So when they speak, very sharp. I know one old lady. Actually, she's quite a nice lady, but the way she speaks actually not very good. The servant will come. 1 week, servant tak boleh tahan. So servants after servants will come. Servants come and servants go. And the servants just cannot stand, because the way she speaks. Terrible. Actually, she's not a bad lady. She's actually kind-hearted. But the way she speaks, people thought, no, the servants actually leave, give up, servants give up. The most they can stand is 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, also give up. So now the daughters are shy to go to the employment agency. When the employment agency sees the daughters coming to get some more servants, they say, ayo, this lady, scared. The servants cannot stay one, because of the way they speak. So we must learn how to express metta with our speech as well. One way is also we must say what we mean, and we must mean what we say. That means we must be truthful, speak truthfully. But even truthful also means you must speak usefully. Because sometimes we might be truthful. Say, if I do not like your face, if I do not like a person's face, you say, hey, I don't like your face, It's true, The Buddha says we have to say the truth, So I don't like your face, I really don't like it. So that's not useful. Even if it is true, it is not useful. So that is not good speech, right? So it doesn't mean that truth, it must be truthful as well as it must be beneficial. And beneficial, also timely. Sometimes you might say what is truthful, what is beneficial, but not timely. Say, for instance, you go to the wedding. And the wedding, you begin to talk about death and all that. Of course, somehow when we think about death, it's beneficial. But, come on, people having a wedding, you go and talk about death. Not timely. So the speech has to be timely, truthful, and useful. So these are some ways in which we express metta through our speech. And also it means we don't gossip a lot. Sometimes if you have lots of metta, you start gossiping about other people. Ayo, how can you say you have metta? You come to the temple very religiously. Full moon, new moon, use white, eat vegetables, vegetarian diet, practice meditation. And the moment after that, next day, you go and gossip about other people. How can people say, how can you call yourself a religious person and yet gossip so much? And it also means that express gratitude. Remember, gratitude is a very rare commodity. Sometimes when we do certain things, people don't say thank you to us. But never mind. If we are happy doing it, in fact, we should thank people for accepting our gift. Okay? But on the other hand, when somebody has done some good things to us, we must express our gratitude. We must say we are thank you. We must say we appreciate it very much. Sometimes we say, oh, thank you. Just like that. But if you really appreciate it, you say, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it because, now that I have this, it really helps me in a particular way, So you express your gratitude to a person properly. And a person next time when they want to give you some things, they also feel very happy, Because sometimes when you give a thing to a person, you do not know whether the person wants it or not, Isn't it? Sometimes when you want to help, you do not really know, should I help or not? If I want to help and then they say, okay, people never ask you help. Why you come and just help like that? But if you help and a person says, oh, thank you very much for your help. I really appreciate your help. And then you feel very confident. So therefore, we must learn how to express our gratitude to other people. Say it very nicely. Okay? So that is how we can express metta through our speech. Now, how do we express metta to our thoughts? Okay, we can express metta to our thoughts by having good thoughts, by radiating good thoughts to people. Now, for instance, when you get up in the morning, first thing you do is to charge yourself with metta. Reverend Mahinda says that, it also comes from Achan Yantra. Each time before you sleep, spend a few minutes meditating on loving kindness. Each time when you get up, the first thing in the morning, don't even go and wash your face first. Wake up, sit down on your bed, bow 3 times. Imagine that the wall is Buddha. Bow 3 times. If you don't have a Buddha image, and do meditation. Sit for a few minutes. Loving kindness. Say after you brush your teeth and all that, when you start walking, go for the bath. As you see people passing by, you might not know him. You might not even look at them. But you send thoughts of loving kindness. May you be well and happy and all that. So we are always sending these thoughts of loving kindness all around us, all the time. Sending positive radiation, positive thoughts. Then we can also express metta by having happiness and joy in every day. Say, for instance, you welcome the day. When you wake up in the morning, you say, it's a miracle that I'm alive today. Because there's no guarantee that we go to bed one night and we can get up the next morning. We got no guarantee. So when you get up, you feel happy. Oh, at least I'm alive this morning. How wonderful. So I got one more day to do good merits. One more day to practice metta. So when you see the sun, you say, good. Now we got the sunshine because it makes everything bright. And when it rains, you don't get angry with the rain. You say, good. Rain cleans up the atmosphere and make it clean and nice for all of us. When there is light, you say, oh good, with light we can see our way. When there is darkness, you say, oh good, there is darkness. Now we can admire the beauty of the stars. Huh? When there is sadness, you say, when there's happiness, you say, oh good, I feel very happy. When there is sadness, you say, oh good, now I can deepen my experience as a human being. You know? So which means that everything is good. Right? So this is one way we can express metta. Huh? And we can express metta through our thoughts by watching our body and mind to make sure that we don't indulge ourselves in sensuality. Doesn't mean that that you shouldn't have some sensual happiness. As a lay person, you can have a lot of sensual happiness, but don't indulge yourself in anything like food. You like to eat food. Oh, then you eat and 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 then, oh, I cannot walk some more. I'm so full. That's what you call sensual indulgence. You eat so much like a glutton. Huh? So, if you practice metta, watch your thoughts, watch your body. Huh? No sensual indulgence, and keep the body clean and practice moderation. Middle way. Have cleanliness and moderation. Then watch the mind. See that the mind is not filled with evil or filled with despair and hopelessness, but feed our thoughts, feed our mind with knowledge and wisdom. Feed our mind. All of us, we feed our body every day, but we should also try to feed our mind as well. Maybe to read a good Dharma book, or just one Dharma sentence, one Buddhist saying, one saying of the Buddha. Feed our mind. Okay? Feed our mind with knowledge and wisdom. And make sure that our thoughts don't become lazy. We don't become thoughtless. We feed our thoughts with meditation, with aspiration. And we watch our heart. Don't let our heart become small and bitter. But we should open up our hearts so that everybody else can, and share, like the sun. The sun shines equally on everybody, without discrimination. We should also open up our hearts and radiate off, and open up our hearts in order to warm up the earth with our hearts. Okay, so those are some ways in which we express metta. All right, so with our thoughts, with our body, and with our speech, we express metta. Okay, so now I shall like to end here. I do not know whether maybe you don't have very much time for question time also. It's about time now, is it? Okay, so we have some time if you have some questions to ask. Oh, 15 minutes. Okay, do you have some questions to ask? Yes. I guess if you practice metta and all that, charms will also not have an effect on you. I think by the same extension. Is that so? Or maybe the charm hits someone else. I do not know about that, but as far as I know, if you practice metta, the charms will not really have an effect on you. That is if your metta is very well developed. I mean, if you sit metta, you say metta, 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 pum, and you fall asleep. Not much metta left after that. Or you say metta, 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 you sit down, count your beats, metta, 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 pump. Metta, 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 metta. Then I think that kind of metta can't work very much. I've seen some people, they sit and chant, count their beats. And then the little kid starts running around and they turn out and scold, you little devils! Shout, and after that go back, chant. You got some questions? Yes.
What areas will metta feel? Obviously, metta is not a solution to everything, but there will be times when metta fails. In what occasions when it fails?
When does metta fails? I don't think I should give you the impression that metta is the answer to everything. Okay? But of course, metta is in fact a wonderful thing to have. Sometimes the instances where metta fails is, for instance, maybe some force of karma. So maybe in the past, either in this life or maybe in the past life, we have done some very bad things. And even if we have metta now, we will still have to face the consequences for bad karma. You know, there are some bad karma whom because the karma is quite strong, we are not able to stop it. You know, sometimes the effects will come to us. But if you have metta, then maybe you wouldn't suffer so much also. You know, because suffering is actually in the mind. The body might be in the pain, but if the mind is not in the pain, there is no suffering actually. Say for instance, when you do meditation, when you sit down, after a while your legs will become very painful. Of course, when you say, oh, my leg is going to be painful, oh, my legs, oh, then you really feel painful. And then worse still, you think, if I go on like that, surely I become paralyzed. Don't know whether I can get up or not. Actually sit only for 20 minutes. Don't know whether I can get up or not. Then the mind actually is suffering. But if a person's mind is not in suffering, if his mind is detached, even if the body is painful, after a while he knows that after a while the leg will no longer be painful. Because pain is after all impermanent. Now very painful, after that no more painful. So he just sit down and carry on meditating. So although the body might be painful, the mind is not painful. So in that case, sometimes when the bad effects come to a person, although the body might be painful, the mind is not painful. That is where metta also comes in. But metta helps a lot, but it doesn't. I mustn't say that you can overcome everything. Say for instance, if you face a person and he has a gun pointing at you. I mean, if just now I say weapons will not harm you. If you shoot a bullet, I think even if you got metta, the bullet will come through. But maybe if you got metta, maybe he doesn't want to shoot bullets on you. Maybe he gives you a chance. He look at this person. He says, "This person actually nice face, you know. Just give him chance of it. He's quite nice person. Why should I want to harm him? So give you chance." All right. Some other questions? Well, if you ask questions, you don't have to put your palms together. You know, I'm not a monk. Sometimes I feel quite uncomfortable also. So you can ask questions.
Is it vipassana, bhavana can help to feel happy or
Vipassana.
instead of metta?
Actually, when we do meditation, for daily practice, we need to kind of balance up. You can do metta bhavana, vipassana. You can also contemplate on death, because that will give you an urgency, and you can also think about the qualities of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, to give you that confidence. So this is a fourfold foundation, you know. I mean, these are the four kinds of meditations which we can practice as a package for our daily life. I think Reverend Sujivo has written a book on this, on each of this contemplation. But of course, sometimes when you go on retreat, say you practice vipassana meditation, they just ask you to concentrate on one, because they do not want you to mix up your meditation. Now, when you do vipassana, the purpose of vipassana is to get an insight, to get an understanding of things. To get an understanding of things means what? That means to understand that things are subject to impermanence, suffering, and non-self. To penetrate into the real nature of things. Now, as you do vipassana meditation more and more, you begin to experience change. You begin to understand what is mind, what is matter, what is cause and what is effect, what is change, what is impermanence. And this body which you begin to cling to, you understand that it's always in the process of change. And this vipassana, when you practice, can actually bring you to higher states of attainment, including complete release. Okay? Now, the first thing which a person experiences when they do vipassana is they experience actually a lot of suffering. So, I mean, when you do meditation, when you sit down, you feel loss of pain. Loss of pain. Then, when you do vipassana, you also, after seeing that pain, you also realize that pain is actually because the body is not satisfactory. You understand that actually this body is not satisfactory. That's why you understand that. That's why you feel the pain. And then you feel the pain also because of your attachment. The more attachment you have to your body, the greater your pain is. So eventually, when you begin to understand more and more about yourself, you begin to have greater control over your thoughts. So, for instance, when you do vipassana meditation, when a bad thought enters in your mind, and you know that sometimes when you do meditation, the thoughts come in very quickly, and when the thoughts come in, your mind starts running with the thoughts. You might even have a conversation, an argument with somebody. It might be something in the past, some argument which happens, then it comes back, then your heart starts beating faster and all that. And then after a while, you realize that, why am I thinking of this kind of thoughts? Now, the moment you're aware of the thoughts, these thoughts will disappear. Then you will understand that actually it's quite easy to control your thoughts in a sense. Because the moment when you become mindful of your thoughts, that unwholesome thoughts disappear. It is like this, the thief. Your thoughts are like a thief, When you're not looking, when it's dark, they sneak in your house and they steal a lot of things. Now, when you got a torchlight, when the moment he sneaks in, you take the torchlight and shine on him. Quickly, he turns around and run away. Our thoughts are like that. Now, when we are not mindful, when they come into our mind, they grow into a big giant, and they really push us this way and that way. But if you've got mindfulness, when you shine this torchlight of mindfulness at them, this big giant shrinks, become very small, and then disappear. Okay? So this is how we can create more happiness for ourselves. Because we know that a lot of suffering which we experience is a suffering which we cause ourselves. They're generated from wrong thoughts, and from the wrong thoughts it becomes wrong action and wrong speech. Now when you begin to watch vipassana, when you begin to practice vipassana, when you begin to watch your body, your feelings, your thoughts, and Dhamma, then you begin to understand when bad thoughts comes in. And at that time, the moment they come in, you just be aware. You just be aware, unwholesome thought. That's what you call citta nupassana. You shouldn't be afraid of your thoughts, because these thoughts sometimes they arise because of vipaka. So you just watch your thoughts, and that thoughts will just disappear. And in the same way, you can also stimulate good thoughts in your mind as well. So this is how sometimes when you do vipassana, you can actually have more happiness. Some people say when they do vipassana, they have more suffering. More suffering at first, because you realize that this body is dukkha. That is the first noble truth. You also experience the mind is dukkha. You understand that no matter how you sit, how comfortable your cushion is, after a while when you sit in a position, you will have pain everywhere. Because your body is not satisfactory. Prajna says the body belongs to nature. Nature. And it's the nature of things to be like that. So you understand that first noble truth. And as you begin to have more and more understanding of things, you also reduce your suffering because you reduce your craving. But on the other hand, when you do metta like that, very quickly you can have the feeling of happiness. Because metta is actually samatha meditation. You see, when you do samatha, the mind comes down. When you calm down your mind, you get happiness more quickly. That's why sometimes when people want to get happiness very quickly, it's much easier for them to do like metta. Whereas when they do vipassana, at first they may experience more pain. Only after they have come up to a certain stage, then they begin to have more happiness. So you want quick happiness, try metta. Quick happiness. But we must also try to balance that, because sometimes it is found that when a person does vipassana very, very strong, then they begin to see people around them as namarupa. They see you as namarupa, they see themselves as namarupa, all namarupa. Then sometimes when they deal with people, when people speak, they say sound. So they become completely detached. And sometimes when we live in society, when you become completely detached, it's a bit hard. So you have to balance with metta so that you have loving kindness for people. So you have that realization as well as you have loving kindness. So you become a balanced personality. Okay? Difference between anapanasati and vipassana. I think vipassana is often misunderstood. Often, actually, amongst Malaysians also, sometimes we make a lot of mistakes. Vipassana means actually insight into a nature of things. The meditation which enables you to penetrate into the real nature of things. That is what we call vipassana. Insight. Not in S-I-G-H-T, the view of things within, the insight, the understanding within, what is within a thing. Now, sometimes in Malaysia when we say Vipassana meditation, we often mean the Burmese method of the rising and falling of the abdomen. Because they call it insight meditation, they call it Vipassana meditation. You see, this method was started by Mahasi Sayadaw's teacher, but Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw popularized it, watching the rising and falling of the abdomen. That is one. This is the base. And after that, they say you watch your feelings, you watch your chitta, and you watch Dhamma. But they use the rising and falling of the abdomen as the basis for that meditation, as a foundation. So if you don't have any strong feelings or you don't have any strong thoughts, you go back to the rising and falling. Now the thing about rising and falling is that sometimes we think it is gross. Rising and falling is gross, but actually rising and falling is not gross. Actually it is a fine object. That is why sometimes when we do rising and falling, the first few days, and sometimes you can't even see the rising, you can't even see the falling. You know why? Because the mind is not sharp enough. The mind is not sharp. So we can't see the rising and falling. So that's why sometimes in Burma what they do is, if they want to watch rising and falling, they sit like that and put their hands like that. And through the movement of their hand, they can feel the rising and falling of the abdomen. Like that, Because sometimes for the first few days, because the mind is so gross, you can't feel the rising and falling. Now the advantage of using this is that this abdomen is a very good Vipassana object. It's a good Vipassana object, this rising and falling. Because from here, from the rising and falling motion, it can lead, it can develop. Then you begin to experience a lot of things. Then from the body, this body object becomes a mental object. And it is only in the mental object that you begin to experience a lot of changes. Now I will only tell you as much as that, because when you begin to tell too much, it becomes a problem. When people go to meditation, then they imagine, okay, they say, since Brother Victor says like that, so I try to imagine like this. So not very good. But it is enough to say that when you do rising and falling of the abdomen, this is a very good object which can lead you to insight. Very, very quickly you can get an insight, all right? But this is only one of the many methods for Vipassana meditation. Although in Malaysia, when we say Vipassana meditation, we normally refer to the Burmese method. Now, Vipassana is discovered by the Buddha. Before the Buddha, there is no Vipassana. There is only Samatha. That means meditation which calms down the mind. You see, like the Hindus, even the Christians have it, even certain sects of the Muslims, like the Sufis, do have this kind of meditation. The Taoists also have. But these methods are just calming down the mind. It makes the mind very peaceful. This is what you call Samatha meditation. Now, when you do Samatha meditation, you can get into very fine mental states. Your mental state is equivalent to that of the Brahma. But it will not give you the insight into the nature of things so that you can free yourself. You can't see the Four Noble Truths. You can't see the three characteristics so well. But you can't see the Four Noble Truths. Therefore, even if you do Samatha meditation, you will reach the Brahma worlds, but you cannot gain release. Only the Buddha discovered that. And because the Buddha discovered it, now the way to Nirvana is open to us. Okay? Now let us go to Anapanasati, the method which is being used by the Buddha itself. It is a very natural method which was used by the Buddha. When he was 7 years old, he sat under the tree. Now, when the Buddha used the breath, when he got enlightened, it was because he was using it as a Vipassana object. Then he could see the changes and everything. So therefore, he could understand the Four Noble Truths. Okay? But the Buddha can also use this for Samatha, because when he studied under Ramaputta, Udaka Ramaputta and all those teachers, he was using this as a Samatha object. Now the thing about using the breath is that it's very fast you can get concentration. And sometimes you can get very happy feelings. Now the problem is sometimes when a person watch the breath, they get attached to the pleasant feelings. Now I must admit that when I started meditation, I used breath also. And get concentration very fast, and I get very pleasant feelings. And after knowing how to get the pleasant feelings, sometimes if I want to get the pleasant feelings, within 3 seconds I can get the pleasant feelings. I'm sure many of you could do that also. I'm sure some of you who have been watching the breath, If once you already know how to trigger off the happy feelings, I think you can also do that very quickly. You just sit down, just watch, just 2-3 breaths, you can actually get that kind of happy feeling. I'm sure you can also get that. Nothing fantastic about that. Huh? Which means to say that after a while, I actually got attached to this pleasant feeling. So each time when I sit down meditation, I want to meditate until I get this kind of happy feeling, because this happy feeling is fantastic. It actually makes you kind of open up, and you don't feel confined by the body, and you find yourself expanding, and you find yourself relaxing, and you find the warmth flowing all over your body, So when you begin to do that, you begin to actually move into samatha rather than vipassana, and sometimes this is a very fine definition. But if you have a good teacher, for instance, just recently the Wave have published this book that is Mindfulness in Breathing. This Achan Buddhadas and Achan Yantra, they have been using the breathing as a vipassana object also. But this one, I think you will need good teachers to help you. Like all meditations, it will help you from stage to stage. Like the Burmese method in this country is quite well established. It was started actually in Penang at the MBMC, I think about 15 years ago, and started by a Thai monk who learned the Burmese method, and he taught it to some people like Brother James Ong, Reverend Sujivo, and all that. Okay, and then later on, we have like Reverend Sujivo going over to Burma and coming back. We've got people like we have got a few other teachers who have gone through the Vipassana method. So actually, the Burmese method has got a large following in this country, and we've got some very skillful teachers. Like for instance, Reverend Sujivo, very skillful, and therefore because of that, it tends to have a large following. Whereas this breathing is something which we read in the books. I also learned from the books. Very quickly, everybody pick up a meditation book and you learn breathing. But we don't really have, at least in KL, a teacher who can lead us in the breathing in the Vipassana method. So it is not to say that breathing anapanasati, you cannot use it as a vipassana, but sometimes you don't have good teachers. But if you really want to learn it properly, then maybe it is good for us, if you can, maybe to go to South Thailand, or maybe visit Ajahn Yantra and maybe learn from it. Reverend Mahinda also can teach it. But so far we do not really have teachers around us. Because sometimes when you watch breathing, because it is also a samatha object, sometimes you get into very states of concentration, and sometimes people might get into trouble. Especially if they get attached to the states. Whereas if you watch rising and falling, the most you can do is, if your concentration is not strong, you fall asleep. Okay. You don't harm yourself by falling asleep. Then when the mind becomes sharp after a few days, then you can watch it, then you can see the process of change. Okay? Whereas concentration of the breath, you get into concentration very quickly. And if your mindfulness is not strong, sometimes you just go down the track of concentration. And then you begin to get attached to states and all that. And that's when people start getting into trouble, into meditation. Because they don't have a teacher and they get attached to states. Okay? So if you find that you do breath meditation, that's okay. But make sure that when you do it under proper instruction. Because breath can go both ways. But it can also be a vipassana object. And this is when some people make a mistake by thinking that breath is only samatha, rising and falling is only vipassana. This is not correct. Okay?
Thank you, Brother Victimi, for the beneficial talk on Metta Bhavana. May we say sadhu to Brother Victimi 3 times? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.